What does it mean to change? To be reborn? To give up on something? To die and become anew? This is what we discuss today as we wrap up the Sword of Destiny with the final story in the work, Something More, which I find to be a really a powerful short synopsis that brings together all the ideas. Today we're going to wrap this up in our exploration of the Sword of Destiny through a psychoanalytic, existential lens. We're going to explore what it means to be reborn. So without further ado, let's hop in.
That's what it's gotta be this time. Yeah. Sun starts to set and the moon should rise.
So today we return to the Sword of Destiny. We are looking at the story Something More. So what's interesting in this one is we are looking at some really specific things. Everything has been brought together here. The whole entire book has been about the changing of times, about atrophy, decay, starting something new and being reborn, and that's ultimately where we're at. We have reached the abyss in which Geralt has to evolve. He can no longer be the same way and the same one that he was. He now has to become something different. And so, short synopsis of the story, spoilers ahead, ultimately we end up is Geralt finds a merchant, Jurga I think his name is, and the merchant has had his cart attacked and destroyed by ravenous undead. And all of his men have died, and he is begging for help. He is unwilling to give up his cart. Geralt understands this unwillingness to let something go. This is the central theme of this character. At this point, though, he gets that. So he understands, he sticks around, and he ultimately decides to help him. This results in him being grievously wounded, but being able to fend them all off. So the merchant, eternally grateful, starts wheeling Geralt back as they try to heal him through various methods, witches show up, all of that. Ultimately, Geralt is able to basically die. He goes through a re-experience of who he's been up to this point. He experiences fevers-like symptoms. He finds himself somewhat renewed and ultimately comes back to the house. Along the way, they have discussed the Child of Surprise. This is something that Geralt asked for in an earlier section. If you haven't seen my earlier video on it, I suggest you go back and take a look. But this is, now yet again we've returned to that idea. Now, Ciri ultimately will be a child of surprise for him twice. The Sword of Destiny really does cut two ways. He comes back, he finds that Ciri is a child he was not expecting back at his house that his wife has taken in. Geralt embraces her, and this is where we end our story to move into the Blood of Elves. So interestingly, I think there's a few ideas to dissect here. And most clearly what we're watching is a resurrection. A character that is experiencing death and rebirth. He is ultimately succumbed living his old way. The way he has tried to do things is concluded. He is not one that assimilated. He is not one that learned to cohabitate. He is not one that died fighting. He is one that took a hit fighting and fought to the last breath for what he believed in, is reborn from what he has learned into a symbol for a new era. He has evolved. The times are changing, and now he is prepared to be a new symbol in them. Things are willing to be let go. I mean, we see this in our bard at some point. I mean, we even kind of cover him a little bit as he throws his poems into the river. He's willing to give up his ballads and his art. He throws it all away. Geralt is doing the same thing here. He is throwing away the symbols and the arts of who he was to become who he needs to be. And despite how hard he has run through multiple books at this point, his destiny finds him. And he is now forced to become something new. And I think this is interesting, and to give a slight foreshadow to where we're going, this is where Blood of Elves picks up, where he refers to Ciri as our future. He now sees the ability to create something new. We've explored the ideas of the inability to reproduce, which is something that he has butted heads with quite a bit. He's unable to create a new idea, a new symbol, a new way of interacting with the world. And now he finally sees a way to do it. So this is, I find, symbolic to be, symbolic to who we all are as we engage in this world. This is, as Rollo May would say, the artist. This is where we're willing to give up who we were, to see into the future, to die and be reborn something new, and to represent an idea, to exist and transcend ourselves. Which is an interesting place to begin the story of a hero. Usually this is where we end. And so this is one of the things I find very unique about this work, is that we are now starting in a transference so that the status quo can be disrupted again in a new way. And I think as we go forward, and I'm going to have to read further. I've finished The Blood of Elves at this point, but I've got more to read. I think we have to look at Ciri as the true main character. Because Geralt is now evolving into a shaman. He's evolving into a symbol, into a deeper meaning so that he can inspire the new ideas. Because he has found that his gift is in the empowerment of the best ideals that exist within himself and those that can come after us and embody them and perfect them and atone for our mistakes. So if you like this video, if you like existential theory, if you like psychoanalysis, if you're interested in any of this, please stick around. We have other videos. We are continuing our story on Rollo May, The Courage to Create, and breaking down his theory. Also, videos coming out on Joseph Campbell, Here a Thousand Faces, as well as Walden, Henry David Thoreau. So all that coming down. I appreciate the support. A like, a subscribe, comment, any of that means the world. But thanks for sticking around and being with us. I wish you the best.